Good morning, all of you. So, in today's class, we will discuss about quantitative immunoassays, which are RIA, and its principle and application. And ELISA, we will discuss in next class. So, this is a continuation class for immunodiffusion techniques. So, the immunochemical techniques or immunoassays are used to detect or quantitate the antigen or antibody by using reaction between antigen and its specific antibody. So these immunochemical techniques means here immuno means antigen antibody complex, that is the immune complex, and chemicals like different reagents and enzymes or substrate can be used. So these are used to detect or quantitate. So detection and quantitate the concentration of analyte or antigen or maybe an antibody by using reaction between the antigen to its specific antibody. That's why these techniques are specific and sensitive in nature. So RA and ELISA means radio immunoassay and enzyme linked immunosorbent assay are the two important immunoassay techniques which are used to measure the different biological analytes present in the biological samples like serum, plasma, blood, or any body fluids and urine. So come to the first technique, radio immunoassay. So RIA, radio immunoassay, is a specialized technique among quantitative analytical procedures and based on the immunological reaction, that is antigen antibody reaction, and also which involves the use of radioisotopes. The specificity of this technique, which is mainly due to the using of labeled radioisotopes, example like isotope iodine 125. So kits for determination of various substances which are prepared by the and supplied by BARC. And come to the principle of RIA. So RIA is a quantitative technique which is based on the computation between unlabeled antigen or unlabeled analyte which is present in the samples or standards and the computation between radio labeled antigen. So here also antigen used, but there is a computation between the unlabeled antigen and labeled antigen to the limited binding sites of specific antibody. So here the radio labeled antigen means it is labeled with the radio compound or radioisotopes, example 125 iodine here we using. So at the end of the incubation, the antibody bound and free analyte or antigens are separated by addition of precipitation reagent. So in the previous, both antigen which is present in the sample and labeled antigens are incubated, then specific antibody is added. So there is a computation to bind with the specific antibody. So after some time or end of the incubation time, so their antibody bound and free antigens or analytes are separated by the addition of precipitating reagent. Next, the analyte or antigen concentration of samples are quantified by the measuring the radioactivity which is associated with the bound fraction of samples and standards in the radioactive counter, which is a gamma counter which is regularly used. As the concentration of unlabeled antigen increases, the amount of labeled antigen and antibody is decreased. So there is an inverse relationship between the bound and unbound or labeled or unlabeled antigen to the bound or binding with the antibody. Here you can see below. So in the first incubation, antigen which is the unlabeled one and antigen which is labeled one with the radioisotope, and also specific antibody which is specific for the binding of labeled and unlabeled antigen. So after incubation time, there is a antigen and antibody complex, and also labeled antigen and antibody complex, and also free antigen and free radioactive antigen. So if the labeled antigen is more than the unlabeled antigen, there is a decreased concentration. Otherwise, if the unlabeled antigen, that is the sample analyte present in the sample, is more, the radioactivity of the labeled antigen and antibody complex is decreased. So there is a inverse relationship between both. Here you can see there is incubation. This is the antibody which is bind with the labeled and unlabeled antigens. Here you can see the labeled antigen. Here there is a same containing unlabeled antigen. There is a competition between both. So here binding or bound between the labeled and unlabeled antibody. Here whereas if it is not bound, means it will be separated after washing. Here the unlabeled antigen diminishes the binding of labeled antigen by an extent that is proportional to the concentration of unlabeled antigen which is present in the sample. And percentage of labeled antigen bound to the antibody is inversely proportional to the concentration of antigen. So if they ask principle, you can write this one enough, or you can draw this diagram. And the requirements for radioimmunoassay are here test tubes and pipettes and centrifuge, gamma counter and incubators. And here the reagents or solutions in the radioimmunoassay kit for T4 thyroxine. Here thyroxine labeled with 125 iodine, which is a labeled antigen, and antibody for which is specific for the T4, that is the antibody for T4, and control sera or standards, and polyethylene glycol which is a precipitating agent, and also buffer solution to maintain the pH, and the specimen which is the serum. So we wanted to identify the concentration of thyroxine, so the serum containing the thyroxine, are the standards which is contain the known concentration of thyroxine. These are the requirements. Here you can see the kit for radioimmunoassay and different reagents. And the instrument used for the radioimmunoassay is the gamma counter. And the procedure for radioimmunoassay is, so you have to take the serum in a test tube and add anti-serum and mix. Next, add radioactive labeled thyroxine or radioactive labeled antigen, then mix. And we have to cover and incubate for 1 hour at 37 degrees. Next, we have to add the precipitating reagent, that is polyethylene glycol, and we have to mix. Then this polyethylene glycol will precipitate the bound antigen and antibody complex, and the supernatant contain the unbound. So after centrifugation about 10 minutes, so we have to remove or decant the supernatant and count the radioactivity using the gamma counter, and perform similarly for different concentrations of sera, and we have to count the radioactivity by gamma counter. Next, determine the ratio of bound hormone, that is a bound thyroxine, to the free hormone, that is the free thyroxine. Next, we have to prepare the graph with bound hormone to the free hormones, on y-axis and thyroxine concentration on the x-axis. Then we have to read the concentration of unknown from the graph. This is the procedure for radioimmunoassay. And applications for radioimmunoassay are, and the radioimmunoassay is useful in the field of medicine for diagnosis and clinical studies. It finds the applications in pharmacy for biopharmaceutical analysis and clinical studies for determination of hormones, vitamins, and cardiac glycosides, etc. And this technique is useful for the determination of various hormones like thyroxine, triiodothyronine, and human chronic gonadotropin, and human placental lactogen and insulin, etc. And it is also useful for determination of vitamins like cyanocobalamin, and used for determination of cardiac glycosides like digitoxin, and used for the quantification of tumor markers. There are wide variety of applications in medicine and clinical studies because of mainly the specificity which is attributed by the radio labeled. And advantages of radioimmunoassay are highly specific, sensitive, and up to the concentration of picogram level of the antigen can be measured, and highly specificity due to the antigen and antibody specificity, and precision and accuracy because of this sensitive, which is due to the antigen and antibody complex, and also detection level up to picograms, and also simplicity and direct determination of hormone instead of excretory products, and also use of blood measurements instead of urine. These are the advantages of radioimmunoassay. You can write 3 or 4 advantages if they ask for 3 marks. And disadvantages of radioimmunoassay is the high cost of reagents and instruments, and the shelf life of the reagent mainly here radio labeled antigens like 125 iodine 125 and 131 iodine, which is a short lifespan. Maybe half life is about to up to 60 days, means very few months, very 2 months, and duration of assay is long, and the radiological hazards which is attributed by the radioisotopes which is used in this technique. So there are proper care while handling and disposal of radioactive material to avoid the harmful effect to the body, and only approved laboratories could take up this radioimmunoassay. These are the disadvantages of radioimmunoassay. So ELISA we will discuss in the next class. Okay, thank you.